Alright, so for the next part, we're going to actually insert this family into the project. So I'm going to close my hidden windows here, and I'm going to Control Tab to the project. So as we mentioned before, those cables run from the flange of these I-beams down to the ramp. So what we need to do is figure out where we want to host those, because we need to be in an elevation, but we need to figure out which, if any, reference planes we have available to us to host those line-based families. So I'm going to go into my floor plan level 2, and if you notice, we have some grid lines here, and these grid lines are actually also reference planes, so we can actually use the grid lines. So what I'm going to do is use grid line 2 as the hosting plane, and I need to be looking at grid line 2, so I'm going to go to this section right here. So if I pick that section, it's pulling and looking towards that direction. So if I double click on this section head, it'll bring me into the section. You can see the section through the ramp, and I can go and load my family. So I'm going to Control Tab back to my family and load that into the project. I can also load and close it, but I'm going to leave it open. I'm going to go load into project, and it loads it into the project. It will actually place it in a three-dimensional view, snapping to different places on this three-dimensional view, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to go into my section, and I want to set my working plane as level 2. So architecture set, very similar to what we did in the family, and I want to set that to, sorry, not level 2, but grid 2, and click OK. Now I'm going to scroll down, and we made that model as a generic model. We can actually recategorize it in the family if we want to, but right now it's a generic model. So I'm going to expand that, and I'm going to go to cable working, and I have the two types that I made, and I'm going to use the 25 millimeter. I'm going to left click on it and drag it out. It's going to want to pick a point, right, to place that first point. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to pick a point on the midpoint of this, and I'm going to drag down, and you're going to see that it's dragging that line-based family down, and I'm just going to drag it down until it intersects with the ramp. So now I have that guy intersecting with the ramp. It will want to place more of them, but what I want to do is I want to move this one into place because it's actually on grid 2, right? So it's on grid 2 between D and E. So if I go to my level 2 and I look for D and E, and then I zoom in, right, grid 2 is going to be right here, so that is the actual cable that we placed, and so you can see it centered it on that grid line. I'm just going to pick it, and I'm actually going to move it to the inside, to the edge of this ramp. So I'm going to select it, go to move, and I'm going to pick the outside top of it, and I'm going to move it to the edge of the ramp. Now, this is the railing for the ramp, and the railing's actually on the inside of this. If we do a distance from here to here, that's 31 millimeters. So I can actually select the railing, and I can offset that from path a negative 31 millimeters. So I'm just going to type in negative 31, and you'll see it flip to the inside. Now we actually need it to go even further, right, because that was only half of it. So if I pick this, go to move, pick that, and move it actually to the edge of the ramp, right, and I do a distance, let's say from there to there, that's about, 13 more. Let's see if I can get this because it's not quite on the edge. I'm going to try to pick that and move it. And this is so small that it won't move it. So sometimes in Revit you have to move things off, and then remove them. So if I move that from there to there, it'll now move it because the distance is far enough. And then if I pick this, and let's do a negative 44, right? Now that is set correctly. Now what I can do is if I knew the distance, half the distance between these, I could actually copy that over and just adjust them vertically. So in the next video we'll do that.